Hi, I'm Morgan with iCEV. Thank you for joining us with the Teaching the Career Cluster Inventory session. We're excited to have Kenneth Ford from Mableville Middle School in Little Rock, Arkansas with us today. Thank you for joining us, Kenneth.
You're welcome, Morgan. I've been looking forward to this since I've been contacted.
We have to.
The Career Cluster Interest Inventory is probably my favorite lesson because it uh, kind of opens the students' eyes into the possibilities and stuff that they hadn't even thought about or realized that they may have want to use as their uh, career in life. Today, we'll be talking about four different areas. The first being the student information survey that pretty much all teachers do at the beginning of the year. And this has nothing to do with the uh, career cluster inventory, but it's something I feel we need to talk about. The next area we'll be talking about is the taking the career cluster survey, some instructions that and some lessons I've learned through the years of using the career cluster interest inventory in the iCEV program. Uh, then we'll talk about what to do with these results. Where do we go once we know what career clusters the students are interested in? Where do we go from there? And then the last thing we'll talk about today is sharing the results with parents and other teachers and how that really can impact all kinds of different areas. The students with their parents, students with their other teachers, and even with, in some cases, discipline and academics as well. So it's very important that we do share the career cluster inventory with our teachers, administrators, and parents. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, most teachers, like myself, we give first day of school. We give this get to know you survey, and whether it's on paper, Google Forms, or some other form of media, uh, we give this out. You know, your name, how to contact you, what you like, and everything. But one thing that uh, wasn't included on that inventory by most people is what do you want to do with your life? Uh, what is your dream career? And how do you plan to get there? Because so many students just think they're going to fall into this wonderful job and they don't have any plan on getting there. Now, sometimes when we're giving this question, we have to give some definition. Students might not necessarily understand that a career is their life's calling. They may just think of it as a job. And so we sometimes have to explain the difference between careers and jobs. And this is necessary to get the kids thinking about where they're wanting to go with their life and why the choosing their career and start planning early is very important. And something I also like for the students to do is I have a little piece of paper that they write down their career choice before we even start taking the any of the career uh, development lessons in the exploring careers iCEV thing. Um, we record their what they think they want to do when they come into class, and then we'll keep that paper and give it back to them after they take the career cluster interest inventory to record the results of that. So let's move on and see how my kids did. This is the results of that survey that we took uh, just to see where the kids' interests were laying in their career plans at the time. Uh, I teach about 100 kids, and this is the majority of the results. I had a couple of things outside of this area, but most of my students wanted to be a professional athlete, NFL, NBA, WNBA, or a professional gamer. And a lot of them wanted to be in the medical field: doctors, nurses, psychologists, veterinarians, lawyer, CEO, and entrepreneur were pretty popular, teachers, entertainers, musicians, singers, and YouTubers are social media influencers, as they like to call it, and then the engineers. Uh, Beautiful careers, a lot of enthusiasm on the students' part for these careers that they had chosen. And so we talked about that a little bit. And uh, then once they start looking at some of the other things that go into getting into some of these careers, they start to maybe think about it a little bit more. When it's time to take the career cluster interest inventory after our discussions, I use the slides 3, 4, 8, and 9 that come with the PowerPoint slides that come with the lesson. These slides talk about what is a career cluster interest inventory. So it tells that is a survey that you take to um, find out about different careers, and that career clusters are just basically a way of organizing uh, careers and work into different categories. The career clusters, there are 16 career clusters that all jobs fall into. And then slide 8 is the one that usually gets the most groans, is when they find out that it is an 80-question survey. But I tell them not to worry. It goes by fairly quickly. It only takes about 15 minutes to complete the survey. And I tell my students to answer with their heart. Be honest when answering these questions, because if they not honest with themselves, they won't like the results they get. Hence the bottom, beware of gigo. Also, not to overthink the question, because if you overthink the question, you're going to put too much into it and answer it probably not in the way that you would be happy with. And the students always tell me that they asked this question already, and I tell them, well, their answer a lot of times they're asking it again, but maybe just a little bit different because they're wanting to zero in on a particular aspect. So it's not a mistake that some of the questions appear to be asked more than one time. I encourage my students to ask if they're not sure what the question's talking about. Uh, some of them, when they hear the first question, for example, talks about how do you feel about managing a greenhouse or a nursery? Well, they might not really understand what a greenhouse is, and to them, a nursery is where you put a baby when you bring a baby home from the hospital. So we have to explain that a greenhouse and a nursery are where you raise baby plants. So they have to know that sometimes we have to give explanations, and that's why. And again, on Gigo, if the student goes through and just selects or dislike, 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 dislike on everything, it's going to skew the results. They're not going to get the results they want or helpful results. Or if they go through and they hit dislike, like, don't know, and just do the click on everything, like clicking on ABCD on multiple choice test ABCD, uh, they won't get good results. So we caution them on that, and then we now let them take the survey. Once they're done with the career cluster inventory, I have the students record the results on that same piece of paper that a couple of weeks ago, about a week ago, they recorded their career interest when they first walked into the class. So now we have the students recording their results from the survey. And then after everyone's finished taking the survey and recording their results of the survey on the piece of paper that I give them, we discussed the 16 career clusters. And we give examples of careers within each of the 16 clusters. At this time, I also relay to my students my story. When I was in 8th grade, I wanted to be a forest ranger. I wanted to be that guy wearing the big hat, walking around the forest saying, only you can prevent forest fires. You know, that was my dream career when I was in 8th grade and all through high school. I was going to be a forest ranger. Well, I get to college and they say, Kenneth, what you want to do? Well, I'm going to be a forest ranger. They said, okay, well, we have a forestry degree program here. So I signed up for forestry and wind up wasting about half of my first semester of college. I took a forestry class, which is great. But then I have one class called botany. And I asked students what botany is, and in most cases, they don't know. So I explained to them it's the study of plants. And me and plants don't get along. And so I wound up taking botany. I didn't do too well in it, but I did. And so I wasted about half of my first semester of college because I didn't know what botany was. And I didn't know that part of being a forest ranger was knowing about botany. So then I explained to them, well, this is what career cluster inventory does. It kind of points you in an area and to let you know what your interests are, where you should be focusing your attention, and not wasting your time pursuing something that you're really not going to be happy with. The next part of the lesson is we assign the students to look at the 3 of their top career clusters. Now, when I take the survey, my top 3 were information technology, education, and manufacturing. Well, 2 of my top 2. I'm a business teacher, and I'm in IT with computer room. So I've actually combined 2 of my top 2 career clusters into my lifetime career. And a lot of them wind up doing the same thing. And then another thing that our school district does, and this happens a little bit further in the semester, but I mention it here. We use a program called Naviance. It's a college and career guidance program. And in it, it also has a career cluster survey. And it's very interesting to see when both the Naviance and the iCEV career cluster inventory line up. And that just is an extra reinforcement that really helps the students in making their career decisions. Okay, now we're ready to share our results. Sharing the results of the survey. Well, what I have the students do is I have them take a screenshot of their survey results and save it to their cloud drive. We use Google Drive in my district, but I know other districts and students prefer different systems. So whatever cloud drive they like to use. So we save the results to the cloud drive. And then I have the students email that results page to their parents along with a note explaining the rest of the assignment, that they're going to be looking at videos and answering questions and assessments dealing with the different career clusters that they have shown interest in when they took the career cluster inventory. And we invite the parents to actually watch some of the videos with the students to help them. I mean, I would love to be able to watch the videos with all of my students and help explain and tutor them and mentor them on that, but it's just physically impossible. But the parents, uh, a lot of parents have expressed to me they've enjoyed watching the videos and sharing and talking with their children about this. The next part is sharing it with the teachers. I encourage the students to talk to their teachers about it, the results of the survey, to get insight from their teachers, and possibly it allows the teachers to uh, kind of customize and explain the relevance of their course to the particular career that the students are wishing to pursue. Now, for any of my students to have an IEP or a 504 plan, I send a copy of the results to their coordinating teacher. Uh, this they really love getting this result because it gives them some information to put in their folder and helps them to guide the students a little bit better in uh, where to focus their studies and schoolwork. And anytime I go to a conference on a student, whether it's a disciplinary conference or an academic conference, I always bring a copy also to share with the people in that conference. Uh, um, it's a great conversation starter, and it's a great way of refocusing the student and everyone on the end result of education, which is being able to get a good career, your dream career. So it helps bring everyone into focus and alignment, and point out where we can improve and where the student can improve in order to reach his or her goal. And with that, I pretty much think we're done. This is my contact information here at the bottom, and a little bit about myself. I'm certified in business technology, career development, and I also have a career orientation endorsement from Arkansas. I've been teaching 31 years, 12 years here in Little Rock, and 19 years in Jefferson Parish, down around the New Orleans area. I have a BS in industrial management from Northwestern State University in Natchitoches, Louisiana, and my master's of education administration and supervision from Our Lady of Holy Cross in New Orleans, Louisiana. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Look forward to seeing everybody at the Q&A session. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Kenneth. Like you mentioned, please join us for a live Q&A session using the link below. Also, don't forget to enter the session completion code to receive your professional development credit and your points. I hope you guys learned as much as I did, and enjoy the rest of your conference. Thank you.